Well, to discuss that a bit further, we're joined by Mr. Ralph Schoenman, who is an author and political commentator, joining us now on the line from Berkeley, California. Mr. Schoenman, thank you very much for joining us here on Press TV. I'd like to ask you about how you feel the impact, how significant do you feel the impact of this specific Occupy movement in Berkeley has been?
Well, Berkeley has been at the forefront of challenging not only the power of the capitalist state with respect to the austerity measures and the increasing pauperization of vast sectors of the populace, but in particular against this complete gutting of the education system, the higher education system, whereby programs have been eliminated through drastic cuts, and the tuition costs have escalated so drastically, as much as by 80%, that working class and even middle class students can no longer afford to attend the university. The significance of the current event, which is about 2 hours ago, is that about 20 protesters defended the park. I should point out that this is Civic Center Park. It's a park in Berkeley that is a symbolic arena of the Occupy movement in Berkeley. It's not obstructing streets. There's no rational basis for the police to evict them, other than that there's been a coordinated effort in 40 cities directed by the National Security Administration and by the military and by coordination with police chiefs that has been in place. It's a national policy of crackdown, and I would suggest that we must see this in the context of the recently approved National Defense Authorization Act, which allows for those charged with threatening national security in any form or associating with those who are supposed to be a threat to national security as defined by the military, to be subject to disappearance, indefinite detention without the entitlement to a lawyer, or to due process or a charge or a trial. Not only that, but put this into further context, that if somebody were to try to help a person they know, a neighbor or a friend or a family member who has disappeared at the hands of the military, help them by lending the family money or providing a taxi cab or even publicizing the fact of their disappearance, those people also are subject to arbitrary detention and disappearance under the same circumstances. That's the context in which to see this crackdown, and it's what I call the architecture of the fascist state being rapidly put in place in this country.
Mr. Schoenman, looking at the United States in general, and obviously, this Occupy movement has now been threatened, as you've said as well, by the police. We've seen a lot of police brutality in many cities throughout the United States against these Occupy protesters. Is that what you're expecting to happen in Berkeley as well? And what kind of an impact does that kind of police brutality have on the Occupy movement as a whole?
Well, I would point out that it is always a question here of the relation of forces. This brutality, by the way, has been a permanent feature of police treatment of the most oppressed sectors of our population. African Americans and the inner cities, as we call them, are really treated by the police as if they were an occupying army. And all the norms of democratic entitlement or due process are utterly ignored. It's a standard operating procedure. With respect to the Occupy movement, I would point out that on December 12th, we participated in the shutdown of the port at Oakland, and the police were out in massive force, but there were 5,000 people there supported by the truckers and by the Longshore Workers Union, and the police backed off. That's what's at issue here, too. They will crack down at different places, and they will take their toll in personal arrests and in brutality. But the dynamic of this movement is of such a magnitude across the United States, in every city and in every location, in every working-class community, that the authorities are on the defensive, and this movement is spreading by the hour and the day, and that will be the continued reality, because the objective conditions under which people are living now are advancing and severe, and people understand that.
All right, we'll have to leave it there for now. That was Mr. Ralph Schoenman, author and political commentator, joining us on the line from Berkeley, California. Mr. Schoenman, as always, we appreciate your insight here at Press TV.